Hello, kings, queens, and in-betweens. This is Key of W here with the game Islands of Insight. So this came out a while ago now as a massive multiplayer online-only puzzle game with over 10,000 handcrafted puzzles to play. Very great game. I played it when it came out. I really enjoyed it. I beat the main quest, but I didn't do everything in the game. But recently, the game has moved to being offline only. There is no longer the always online requirement, and it is no longer multiplayer. And so, essentially, development of the game is finished. We have a finished product here, and so I've decided to come back to the game and play it for you. So the quick version here is I really, really recommend this game. If you like what you see and you don't want me to spoil every single puzzle, absolutely go and buy the game. If you can afford to buy it at full price, please do, because I just like to support developers here. But it is a little bit pricier than some other indie games, so if you can't swing for the full price, you can always find a sale, whatever. It's really good. I definitely recommend it if you are a puzzle fan. But I do have a tendency to gab on and on about things, so I'm just going to start the game and explain more of my feelings later. So that's how it's going to be. As I go through this playthrough, of course, I will be trying to hit every puzzle I see. I will try to 100% all of the main quests, which means I will spoil the main progression of the game. I will also be explaining as fully as I can the logic I do. So if you don't want spoilers, you need to go get the game yourself and play it on your own. But I think you'll enjoy that a lot. It is a very good game. It does take an awful long time to initially boot up. But that is because it has to boot up the entire world at once, so there is that. Cool, here we are. So we start with this auroral character telling us, I will give substance to your form, but you must choose a vessel to house the spark within. This is not the auroral. You might be tempted in thinking that this is us right now, but we need a form. So we have two we can choose from. It's essentially, do you want a male body or a female body? Now, a lot of times in fantasy setting type games, people like to play as something that's wildly different from who they are as a person, but I'm not like that. I really like to choose a character that matches how I look in real life as close as possible, which is how we're going to do this. And of course, skin color, we want to pick my natural skin color, which is on here. Then we have a lot of other settings with the skin color. So patina, which whatever that means. We can, add some extra coloring to this here. Let's make it a little darker. Yes. Burnish, which is different than patina, as we all know. Okay, I see. It's the edges here. Let's do that. We're just... no, I do have a little bit of definition to my arms there, as we see. If you were to meet me in real life, you would notice. Aura. Okay, so that's the same thing apparently. Let's bring it a little bit toward. That's a little too red. There we go. That I think I'm looking at a picture of myself on the side to make sure I look the same, and this I think is pretty close. Not the face, just the body type and shape. I believe matches what I have. Then we can change the luster, which, as I'm doing the slider, you might notice very, very slight changes on the screen, but it's hard to tell. I'm just going to put this at 50, put it right in the middle, because I, like to do a little of both. And then we have our markings we can choose from. There are not very many options here, but the cosmetic options we unlock as we play through are a lot. So there's that. Can't really see much of them, but I like this one the most. This, I can't really see it, so I'm going to just take the markings off for now. And then we get to change our face shape. So this right here, this is kind of like every white girl in 2007, but unfortunately not me. I have a different one. Let's see here. There, that's what I look like. We're also going to pick our eyebrow color. Now mine is a little bit subtler than that. Yeah, some just basically the same shade though. An eye color, you'd think it would also be blue because of my skin color, but they actually don't match. It's more of this. No, it is this sort of thing. That's pretty close, but it's more of a purple than a blue. This is not really my preferred hairstyle. Let's see what we got here. No. I like this hairstyle, but it's not mine. I think what we're gonna go for is this right here. This is what I look like. But obviously my hair isn't brown. That's such a fantastical color. I don't think I could. I mean, I could dye my hair brown if I want. So we're gonna go with my actual hair color here, and we can put an ethereal glow on it. What that does is it, you can see here, it does tend to keep people up at night. It makes me very visible. I don't have to wear high visibility clothing out if I'm walking around at night on the street. It's pretty easy to see where I am from that. And the last thing, we can put markings on our face as well. The game's already given us this one. It just kind of looks like birthmark, or perhaps we got hit with a hot iron when we were smaller. We also have this one that I actually really like this marking, so I'm going to keep this one. It seems somewhat regal. So now that I've made a character that's pretty close to what I look like in real life, we're going to confirm this and actually start the game. But we can change the appearance at any time. So if you start your character and you mess up, you can always fix it. So anyway, here's a little bit of story. The echoes of time carry a story. The Auroral, which I think is this person, created this realm from the memories of another world. The realm was silent. Here, does the mouse cursor help in this story? Let me get rid of that. Until the edge of the universe shattered. Sparks of energy created a new form of life. She called us Seekers. Move my chair a little closer. Okay. And crafted a journey of discovery to help us thrive. Now awaken, Seeker. Cool. It is time to begin your journey. So yeah, you might be thinking this must be a very important story. Not quite. We'll see more of the story as we go. So the game is mostly this open world exploration that we do here. So we'll follow the goals that we see in the top right. If you're ever wondering what I want to be doing next, it's going to be up there. So we're going to follow this. This is the Wandering Echo. And the Auroral tells us to try out our new form and to do the thing we're already doing. We can also sprint, of course. The nice thing about the sprinting is it's a toggle, so you just tap it and then you start sprinting. I do appreciate that. Cool. Quest objective completed. And now we want to complete the Pillar of Insight, which is this guy here. So this is mostly what the game is going to be. We find the puzzles, interact, and start. So left-click a gray tile to toggle it dark. This is a logic grid type of puzzle where we want to fill in every tile, either dark or light, either black or white, according to the rules. So we want to connect all the dark cells. This one's going to solve itself. There's really only one thing we can do. And then this next one, we right-click a gray tile to toggle it light. And the same idea is here. There's really only one thing we can do. I've already been doing this. Instead of clicking each individual tile, you can click and then drag, and it'll get a little quicker. But again, there's only one thing we can do with this puzzle. Some puzzles have multiple rules. So we have 2 rules on this one. We want to connect both the dark and the light cells. So this is our first real puzzle. You're looking at it, you probably instantly solved it with your super genius brain. But I'm going to walk us through. I want to make a nice habit of walking through all the puzzle steps, because as the puzzles get harder, it's important that we have the basis of the logic so we can solve them. So we're going to start with this light cell. If we make this a dark cell, it's going to be forever separated from its friend, very lonely forever. So this needs to be a light cell, and so does this, for the same reason. But now all the light cells are connected. So not only would creating any other light cell block the 2 dark cells, but there's no reason to ever make more cells of this type because this rule is completely satisfied. So we're going to make the rest dark, and that's the puzzle. The game does get much, much harder than this, I promise. Alrighty. Do not fear the great depths below. If you fall, no harm will ever come to you. And this is true. I'm going to just jump off the edge. No reason to live anymore. Oh, I'm back. Okay, so it dropped me a little further behind. So I can change point of view with this. It's asked me to do that. Thanks. Now that thing went away. I usually like to be in first person for things just because, as pretty as I am to look at, I am sort of in the way. So I want to be like this. Um, so just full disclosure, yes, I've played the game before when it first came out. So there's going to be a lot that I do remember, but not everything. However, this is my third attempt at recording. My first attempt, the video didn't work out at all. The second attempt, the quality was really low. So I'm hoping this quality is going to be better. Um, the game is rather taxing on the computer, but I have a computer that can run it. It was entirely on OBS, so I've changed the settings. Previous things I recorded worked out just fine, but I hope it's not as blurry. So this is attempt 3. So I am very, very familiar with the beginning of the game all over again. So we're going to solve this grid here. Once again, we have these two rules. So let's take a look at these two cells. They seem to be trapped in their own little worlds. This dark cell cannot escape this way. It must come around here to reach this dark cell, and this light cell must come around. And so the only question is how to connect these. There's only really one way. This has to be dark, and that has to be light. Once again, you probably looked at that and immediately deduced, because you are so smart, what the solution is. But it's important not to just eyeball puzzles, because once they get difficult, you need to know why the solutions work so that you can solve them logically. All right, and here we are at the tutorial island, Moments of Discovery. Please explore, but should you need help, you will find it at the blue guide stones. We are going to look at those. For this playthrough, I am going to assume that you literally were born yesterday. You've never seen this game, you don't know anything about it, so I will over-explain quite a lot of things in this very NPR voice fashion. So get used to that. I apologize if you already know something, but I would rather do this than assume something that you don't know and you get lost later on. So this right here above these logic grid puzzles tells us the difficulty. This only has one pink pip, so this is the easiest difficulty puzzle. We already have deduced this. We fill the entire grid while following the rules. We have some new patterns we can't make, so don't make this 2x2 square of dark or of light. So these three are dangerously close to making a dark cell. In fact, if I do this, that's not okay. So it has to be a light cell, and so do these two, for the same reason. But now we're dangerously close to making this pattern. So we want to fill this one in dark, and then this one as well, to avoid a dark square, will be light. Cool. You'll notice when we finish a puzzle, we gain mastery. This is essentially our experience level. I press tab here, and I'm going to take a look at it. So first, the map, which we can't really do anything with yet. We can look at our upgrades, which I'll look at a little bit later, and then our mastery page. So this tells us how much we've done with each puzzle type. There are 24 puzzle types in the game. Logic grid is just one of them. Every time we do a puzzle of a certain type, we gain mastery points in that type, and then eventually we'll level up. Every time any of these puzzle types levels up, we gain a mastery over here. And once we have 12, we go to the next level and we will unlock new things like cosmetics, sparks, lore, things like that. So I'm going to keep my eye on these. Over here, we also have our encyclopedia. So here's the puzzle types we've seen. The Wandering Echo, we just follow this little guy. And then the logic grid, of course, we've seen. We fill in the grid with dark and light cells. It says every grid is a single solution reachable through logic alone, and no guessing is required. It will feel like guessing is required with some of these later ones, but I believe that it is true that there is no guessing. We can also look at the grid rules we've seen, just in case you don't remember them. For example, we have to connect appropriate color together, or don't make a certain pattern, even rotated or reflected. And the pattern can be anything, doesn't matter. While I'm here, while I'm already kind of stopping the gameplay to jaw at you, we have insights. We haven't seen any yet. This gives us like hints on how to solve puzzles. Lore fragments and echoes of time, which are also lore fragments, and then mysteries. We will not see these for a bit, so don't worry about it quite yet. And I'm not even going to worry about the customization. There's nothing you can do that we haven't already done. Until later. All right, let's explore this island. You notice on the top right, our goal now is to solve 10 puzzles to earn something called a mirabilis. So these orbs will tell us about puzzle types we haven't seen yet, so we can see descriptions of them. This is helpful just so you don't have to guess what to do with puzzles like this. With the matchbox, should you discover a cube, that's such a great way to start this, bearing the runic symbol. So there'll be a red or green cube with a symbol on it. If you find the matching symbol on the opposite color, what you'll do is you'll find a vantage point where you could see both, and then you click and drag to make it visible. You can't move while clicking and dragging, but you can rotate the camera. That's how that will go. I'll show you in more detail when we get there. Armillary rings. These you'll see a series of gold rings, sometimes with dark rings among them, and you need to find an angle that looks through all the gold rings without looking through any of the dark ones. Sentinel stones, which actually is right here. You can see what it looks like. This one you'll find with the sentinel stones are always on a platform. You need to be on that platform and find a location where you have line of sight to every single pillar at the same time. And then if you look at them all without moving, then you win, basically. It's interesting that this is an old graphic of the sentinel stones. When we get up there, you see it's actually very different. Hidden pentads. You'll find pillars like this. Once you click on the pillar, it activates. 5 relics will appear within a boundary, and you must find them. There's no time limit or anything. You can take as long as you like. One of my favorite puzzle types, actually. And last but not least is the sky drop. Let this be a secret that you must discover on your own. I will tell you only that you must find the circle among the spheres. Being very coy with us, this is the only puzzle type that is not explicitly stated. We have to figure out what it is. All right then. So that doesn't actually add them to our encyclopedia. It won't be added until we do the puzzles. But these are 5 of the 24 types of puzzles we'll see in the game. So this right here is the matchbox that they were talking about. So what I want to do is I want to click on one of these, and then I can move my camera around just fine, but I need to drag it to the other one. And that solves the puzzle. And now that I've solved it, it'll appear in my encyclopedia, and it'll say the exact same thing it said from the blue orb. So there's no new information there. And of course I see a logic grid in here, so we're going to go do that one. We don't want to make a 2x2 square of either color. So the first thing we want to do is remove the potential for the squares here, 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 and there. But by doing so, we make more potential on those two, so we need to block the square. But then we make more potential squares that we need to block here, and finally, this piece needs to be blocked. A lot of the puzzles, especially the easier ones, tend to be you look for the 1 or 2 moves that are sort of forced, and by doing so, you make sort of a domino effect where all the moves are forced, and there's no real guessing involved. Ooh, new puzzle type. So you'll notice as I approach, this arch starts to come into view, and when I back away, you can see vaguely how it's distorted. I don't know, maybe it'll depend on how well this video comes out once once OBS gets its hands on it, and YouTube compression. But hopefully you can actually see a vague outline. I'm sort of bringing my cursor around of the arch. But as I get closer, it becomes more solid. We walk through. New puzzle type. Walk through the hidden archway. That's all it is. So yeah, not all the puzzle types require, going into a separate menu and doing a whole thing. So I'm hearing a noise. Can you hear that shimmering sound? If you have stereo sound, hopefully that comes through in the video as well. It sounds like it's coming from my right, whereas if I look this way, it sounds like it's coming from the left. So it's somewhere here. I'm going to look up, see if I can see. I can see something from here. There's something right there. So I'm going to climb up here. Maybe you see it now. There's something over there. Another puzzle type, the hidden cube. A cube that's difficult to see but makes a shimmering noise when you're nearby. Touch it to solve the puzzle. Okay, the game wants us to go to our upgrade page now, so we're going to do that. So every time we complete a puzzle and a quest and whatever, we gain sparks, and we use those to upgrade our character with either cosmetics or useful upgrades. So it's going to force us to do this first one. It's the only one we can take now. and this allows us to double jump. So we're going to do that. And we're back here. Thank you very much, game. So once we've taken this upgrade, we unlock a few more. There's only so far we can go until we get to a higher level, so we can't do any of these until we get to at least level 4, and so on and so forth. I'll come back to this page later when it becomes more useful, but the double jump is nice. Actually, it's pretty hard to get anywhere without the double jump. We'll find. So I got some more matchboxes here. I have 1, 2, 3 red ones, but of course none of them are correct, because not only are they the wrong symbol, but they need to be opposite colors. From this angle, I can actually see a green one. I noticed it while I was talking about matchboxes now. The game does not require you to get up here. You can actually just do it from right here. We grab this. Once again, you can rotate the camera, or this would be a very difficult puzzle type. Cool. Now we want to find the matches for that and for that. Oh, look at that. Wasn't expecting to see that so soon. So here is the match for this guy. So I want to have a nice window here and then look up, and we've got that one. This one's a little trickier to find. I'm not going to worry about it right this minute. I want to go this way and handle these puzzles. So here's the hidden pentad. We click on it and 5 relics will appear. This is what the relics look like. We just click on them. The nice thing about hidden pentad is there is no limit to the distance, so I don't actually have to get close. Here, let me demonstrate with this one. Let me get as far away as I can. I can still see it. I don't want to give you that view. That's horrible. Here we go. I'm really far away from the relic. I can still take it. I just have to have line of sight. Oh, look at that. And I bet the last one's this way. Yes, it is. There we are. That's the hidden pentad. Thank you. Another logic grid. Connect all dark and all light cells. So we see light cells trapped here behind these dark cells, which means they will eventually have to escape through there. That is a choke point. They can't go anywhere else. We also have to connect these light cells down here. So this is a choke point here. Cool, but now we're sort of trapping these dark cells, so those have to come out, which means the light cells to come out this way. So now we have a question of, will the light cell connect here, or will the dark cell connect here? Well, if we make the dark cell here, the light cells will have to go through here, trapping the dark cells. So that will force this to be light, but now these dark cells have to go up through this choke point and through here. Now that all these dark cells are connected, we're basically done with that. So these will all be light, but this one can't be light because it won't be able to connect to its friends. So this will also be dark, and that will finish the puzzle. I promise once we get further into this and the puzzles get more complicated, I won't have to explain every little step. We'll just kind of know how it goes. So I want to jump on top of here because my intuition tells me there's going to be a puzzle up here. Actually, since this is my third recording, I just remember that there's a cube up here. But on my first recording, I just had the intuition because obviously they'll hide stuff on the roof. So we finished the campaign quest because we've done 10 of the puzzles, so we've gained a Mirabilis, the energy of the known realm. Each Mirabilis you collect will open more islands for you to explore. That is true, but they actually do more than that. The Mirabilis is the main form of progression, so not only will I go to new islands, but I'll be able to awaken new lands and eventually do the final quest in the game. So I want to be collecting as many of those as possible. You'll see that at the top right again with the goal and the bonus of the Enclave. Every Enclave has at least one goal and I think every Enclave has at least one bonus. So the goal, you see the blue cube is filled out. We've done the goal. Although there's still something listed there that's unique to this tutorial island. The bonus, however, will grant us another Mirabilis if we solve any 22 puzzles. So I'm going to solve some more puzzles on my way to that great pearl that they're talking about here. So that's one there, I guess. Just that's a free one. So the great pearl is over here. In fact, the sooner I touch it, the better, so I can get that goal out of the way. So let's just walk over here. I don't feel like sprinting. I feel like just taking my time, just cozy, relaxing. You just click on it, and that counts as awakening it. And so that opens up that launcher, or rift, I guess they call them in the game. That'll take us to the main overworld. I don't want to go to the main overworld quite yet. The reason is I just have to come back. It would just be kind of a waste of time. I can do everything here without going there. But because it unlocks the map, I can now look at this enclave in more detail. Moments of discovery, the path of the seekers. Your senses kindle in the space between the stars, one of many, yet one in a billion. Doesn't that mean the same thing? One of many and one in a billion are saying very, very similar statements. You answered her invitation and awaken in the vibrant world that surrounds you. So you see what the Mirabilis earned. We have 1 out of 2, but it also tells us how many total puzzles are on the island. There are 30. We've done 11 of them. The quest, however, tells us we need to get 22 puzzles to get the Mirabilis. So often, in fact, in most enclaves, there are more puzzles than you are required to complete to finish the enclave. I'm going to try to 100% everything. This island, I know I can. There might be some I struggle with. So here's the sky drop. So it just looks like a bunch of random balls. But what we're going to do is we'll notice they kind of form this line. So I'm actually going to move closer this direction. And as I do, they start to light up. Once I get into this version, you see that I have made a circle of the spheres. And I just click in the center, and that's the puzzle type. Once again, it doesn't tell us what to do, but that's how sky drops work. We just have to make them look like a circle, and we're done. Okay, let's take care of these sentinel stones, why not? So, for instance, I'm standing on the platform. It's now showing me my line of sight, but I know there's a thing back there. Yeah, I can see it through here, but the game wants me to see the center point of this thing. So I need to find another vantage point that'll see both of these. So I'm going to try over here instead. I think this is just it. Oh, so this isn't. But I have some wiggle room to move over a little. See how it's moving? Eventually. Ah, darn it. Eventually I'll be able to see all of them in one go. And that's how you solve these. I really like the Sentinel Stones puzzle type. Simple, but I really enjoy perspective puzzles in general. Oh, archway. There's also a logic grid over here. We'll do that. We don't want to make the square pattern, and we want to connect all dark cells. So I guess the first thing we're going to do here is look to see which dark cells need to be connected where. So this has to come out. This has to come out to at least there. Let's see what we get after that point. Well, this side needs to connect with that side, and the only way through is here, which almost makes a 2x2 square. So we have to block that off. And there can't be a dark cell here. He'll be very, very lonely. So we're going to do this. And we know we're going to have to come through here. So this makes squares that we need to block off, and that's the puzzle. Listen. We hear another cube. I know where it is because this is recording number 3. It's up here. So all we have to do is get close enough to click on it. It's possible to do a double jump and click, but I'm going to show you how to actually get up there. That's back here. I think the game wants you to go this way, but it is totally possible to just double jump and grab this cube without doing that. Awesome. I've completely ignored this area, and there's another archway over here. Completely ignored this area with the armillary rings. So this is how they're going to work. See all the gold rings. I want to look through them all without looking through the dark ones. So if I do this, I'm looking through all the gold rings, but also both of the dark ones. So I'm going to find an angle. Let's try this side. Let's try this side here. Actually, let's just get right underneath. So this one looks through all the gold rings, but none of the dark rings. Excuse me, I can talk. That's how that works. Armillary rings. So we've got quite a few puzzle types here. Most of the armillary rings, it will be hard for me to explain a logic behind what I'm doing. It's just going to be me going to a spot like this and going, that looks right. You're just going to have to trust me on this. There was one back here somewhere. That looks right. And this one, I think I need to get under it and go there. Neat. We got another logic puzzle, of course. Oh, wait, before we do that, we've leveled up to level 2. So let's go to our mastery page. So you'll see here it's completely filled up, and we see all of this. So I click here, and it gives me a new cosmetic. So let's go to the customization. We can check it out. So in the clothing section, we now have a headpiece we're wearing. called Dawn Solstice, which I kind of like, but we unlocked a new one. Actually, there's this one apparently we can go to, Sense of Awakening. I don't like it as much, but we unlocked the Summit of Infinity. So we can wear that if we like. This is a bit ostentatious for me. As you can tell by just my general appearance, I tend to like keeping things very subtle. We'll do that. But now we've also unlocked the possibility of many, many more customization options after the character creation screen. So the markings, there's a lot more we can choose for a face. Unfortunately, they're locked behind something. Either we need sparks to buy them, or we need to gain extra levels or finish certain puzzles in order to unlock them. So as we do so, we'll have more and more options to customize our appearance. Back at the mastery page, just one other thing I want to point out. Might as well, it's a fun time. So up here we see we have no title equipped. A title is going to be based on the puzzles that we've solved. So you'll see, like with Logic Grid, we're at level 4 and we're considered a novice. In fact, we're considered a novice of every puzzle type. But once we've done any puzzles at all, we can equip a title based on that puzzle type. This was more useful, I guess, when the game was multiplayer and online only, because your title would be displayed above you, so anyone else playing the game would see your name and your title. I guess it's for bragging rights. I never considered it that impressive, even if someone came up and was level 99 at everything. It's like, congratulations. But it's fun. It's a way at least to signal what your favorite type is. For instance, I might put armillary rings. I really like those. So I'll say I'm a novice at armillary rings. Yeah, it's a fun little cosmetic thing, but it doesn't do much now the game is offline and single player. Cool. The colors of the mouse cursor can help you remember left is dark, right is light. That is true. Look at my cursor. The left side is darker, the right side is lighter. Despite this help, I will mess this up multiple times. So the first thing we want to do here is let's not make this pattern. So these are all going to be required moves. Otherwise, we would have that pattern. Now we want to connect the dark cells, meaning this guy's to get out, these have to get out, and then we have to connect the two halves. So it's going to come through this area for sure, which means that these both also need to be light cells. Cool. Now we've solved any 22 puzzles, which means we get our second and final Mirabilis of this enclave. So as far as the game is concerned, we've done everything important here. But we're not done because, as it says here, there's 30 puzzles. I want to solve all 30, so I'm going to go find them. Luckily, since I've already recorded this segment 2 other times, I kind of know where they are. So we're going to start with the obvious. Let's look on the roof. They're always going to hide stuff on the roof. And there it is. You can hear the sound. Here's the cube. Extra puzzles. This is the stuff I've already told you. I'm way ahead of you. And sometimes it is, in fact, very, very difficult to find every last puzzle in an enclave, but this one's not so bad. So there's also a cube there. You might have seen it in the background as I was walking around. I didn't point it out. That's that. Okay. Missing some. I know I'm missing this island down here. I saw it in the corner of my eye several times and never acknowledged, but you can jump down here. And there's a couple more puzzles we can do. Oh, that's an archway. We have another armillary rings. This one's a little trickier, but I'm going to squat so I get a better view, and then I can see through all 3. And we'll do this logic puzzle. So this one you saw had 2 pips above it. They were a different color. That means it's a slightly harder puzzle. This is still pretty good. Work through the grid logically, guessing is never required, which is true. So we're going to start by blocking these off. And those. And those. So white cells don't need to connect, so it's okay that I've done this. Oh, that also. That blocks off all the squares that could be made. Now we want to just connect these dark cells. So this obviously has to come through here, and we have to block off that square. Now it's pretty obvious what we got to do. We have to connect everything else, and there's really only one path to do it with. And so the puzzle's done. Yeah, so 2 pips isn't that hard either. I happen to know there's no more puzzles down on this island, so we're going to continue. How many do I have left? I should have like 3 or so. I have 3 left. I know there was this matchbox we didn't solve. So let's just, rather than me just telling you where it is, let's do some like intuition. How would we solve something like this? Well, since it's up high, and it's a very large block, the game is probably asking us to go very far away and find an angle um, somewhere that is not close to this. So it's not going to be like this where they're right next to each other. Usually, not every time, but usually when you see a large block up high, that's what it's asking us. And what's great is I'm imagining looking through one of these windows. So we're going to look like this and look for another green object here. Well, this isn't the one, but something like, oh, an arch. Actually, what I love about this arch is it leads us right to the object if you're looking for it. That's the one, and that's the window we're going to look through. That should be 29 puzzles. The 30th is, oh, I remember, it's this one right here. So we're going to go around here. And hop. Final puzzle. Reflections and rotations of forbidden patterns are also forbidden. We covered this a little bit already, but now the game will make it known to us. So for instance, this pattern, we don't want two white cells next to each other. So that's obviously wrong, but this is also wrong. It's this pattern rotated. That means every single white cell needs to have adjacent to it a dark cell. Excellent. But now we don't want to have any black squares, so we do need to do this and that and that. Which means these new white cells need to have dark cells next to them, which makes more potential squares, which makes more dark cells, which makes more squares, which makes more dark cells, which makes more squares. Yeah, so you see how the logic all flows. So that's all 30 puzzles. Nothing happens when you hit 100% in an enclave unless there is a mirabilis that requires it. It's just bragging rights, and also I'm the type of completionist. I feel a little weird if I leave a puzzle behind. So that's just what I've done. Hopefully this has been a wonderful journey for everyone involved. You'll notice there's also this island over here. It is connected to this enclave, and it has what's called a trial in it. Unfortunately, we can't get there yet, so I will just completely ignore it for this video. All right, we're done. We're going to head to the mainland. Take a look at this wonderful world. It's very beautiful. And here we are. So that concludes our first episode, I guess, of Islands of Insight. I've been your host, Key of W. If you like what you see in this game so far, then this is your chance to go and buy it. It's, of course, available on Steam. And go ahead and play through the game so that I don't spoil everything for you. And if you like this video, that's great.